Hello guys, how's it going? Play a little Justin game. Sorry, I'm gonna get this here, set it up. So yesterday and today I was supposed to be, to the horse. Yesterday I was supposed to do Miss Stephanie Brown, and then today I was supposed to do Dick Grayson. I had a job interview this morning, so I wanted to make sure I got plenty of sleep to be awake for it and all that. So I didn't want to go through and run the risk of being too tired. So I wanted to make sure I had plenty of rest. So I went ahead and decided to lay it down early last night so that I could do that. But anyway, I wanted to get these drawings out of the way today. So this first one that I'm doing is Miss Stephanie Brown. Stephanie Brown at one point was spoiler. She was a bad guy. Her dad was the spoiler before her. And then at some point during the course of it, she started dating Tim Drake. Tim knew she was the spoiler because, of course, Tim. If we remember the video from the other day, Tim was also the one to figure out who Batman was. So he was very much showing off his detective chops and figured out who Stephanie was. And so at some point during the course of that, he convinced Batman to try to work with her to see if he could reform her. And of course, initially he tried, and over time, Stephanie wasn't always the best listener, and so sometimes she would not do what she was told. And so because of that, Bruce made a final decision. Bruce basically said, "I'm not going to do this anymore." And so Tim eventually came up and basically was like, "Look, you gotta give it up." And so eventually Stephanie stepped into a different role in the Bat family. For a little while, she was actually the Batgirl to the Bat family. So, and then eventually Stephanie kind of came out. I don't know if she's back in the New 52. I don't know what they've done with her in that regard. But anyway, so I wanted to kind of, if you'll notice, my paper's a little bit bigger than it usually is because I filled up my smaller notebook and followed a smaller sketchbook. And so when I filled up my smaller sketchbook, I was like, well, I don't have any small ones, so I guess I got to go bigger. So I thought, well, this will give me a chance to try something a little bit different with this week. So I thought for this particular setup, what we'll do is we'll do some of the Robins on here that I haven't done yet. As y'all may or may not know, I've already done Damian Wayne. I've also already done Tim Drake. So here is, Stephanie and Nightwing today. Nightwing, of course, being the original, the OG Robin. He was the first. And so they will always have a special place in my heart as well as other people's. He was the one that was definitely the TV show version of Robin. He's been on a lot of different iterations, everything from Young Justice to, you know, Super Friends. Even you go back a little ways for some people that remember cartoons that are older than the year 2000. I don't want to date myself too much in saying that, but anyway, so yeah, you get the chance to see him. But I want to talk a little about Stephanie as well while I'm working on her. One of the cool things about Stephanie I thought that was really interesting was that her dad was a criminal. And so her dad was the original spoiler, as I said earlier. And so there was kind of this whole idea that when she was trying to be Robin, it wasn't so much about trying to become Robin as much as she was trying to get away from her past. She didn't ever going to be labeled by the past, labeled by the stuff her dad did, labeled by anything other than who she could be as a person herself. So she wanted to do her own thing. And so when she started dating Tim, she, whenever Tim came up with the offer and said basically, hey, you could be the new Robin, she was like, okay, but only if I get to do it my way. And like I said, that became a bit of a problem because when Batman, you work with Batman, one of the things you know real quick is that Batman has one way of doing it, it's his. And if you're not, if you're not willing to follow that rule, then his usual response to you is find something else to do. Because one reason for that, of course, has to do with Jason Todd, who is another Robin you'll see this week. So, anyway, Jason Todd, one thing about him that's really interesting is that, he kind of started off as this really neat person. I don't want to go too much in his origin because I definitely don't want to go and tell all the story before I get to drawing. But Jason Todd, whenever things happen to him, it made Batman very apprehensive about doing it again. And as far as doing the whole Robin thing, there was a period of about a year where Batman really didn't have a sidekick. It was about a year where he took time off to really kind of evaluate whether he wanted to do that again, due to what happened to Jason, due to uh, what occurred. Again, not trying to tell all the story because, like I said, I want to have some stuff to tell for when I draw Jason, which will probably be tomorrow. So I'll do Jason tomorrow. I will do Carrie, and I can't remember her name right off. Carrie will probably join us on Thursday. I think, let's see, today's Tuesday, so yeah, we'll get today and tomorrow's, and Wednesdays will be Jason. Thursday will be Carrie, and I might have a surprise one in here for that one too. I might throw another person in here as well. I know there was a group of Robins. That's a whole other storyline. There was a period of time where Bruce Wayne disappeared, and so a lot of people didn't know where Bruce Wayne was, and so there was a point where there were a group of Robins. And so one of them in particular is now in the new continuity of DC. He kind of shows up as another character that Batman has employed to help with his crusade. And so I want to definitely speak on him for a little bit too, because I think he's an interesting character for his own reasons, and he led this team of Robins. But another cool thing about Stephanie was the bow staff that she used, if I'm not mistaken, was the same type of bow staff that she used when she was the spoiler. They tried to tell her, you can do your own thing, and kind of like the whole mantle of Robin is its own interesting thing in itself. So I thought it was cool that when you had Stephanie take over the role, she kind of got to adapt some of the stuff that she knew, and so she got to definitely involve a little bit more of the martial. Not so much the martial arts. She wasn't really a Dick Grayson type. She was definitely more of a survivalist type. So I mean, she did stuff that was very practical. Whereas like Dick was a little bit more flashy, a little bit more able to hold his own against a lot of different enemies. She tended to be just she did what she needed to do to survive. So I like the fact that when they created her in the comics they allowed her to use a bow staff for that. So anyway, we're about to finish her up and then move over to the original Robin, the first of the archetype. So I always found it interesting when you look at Robin and his kind of story. You see the story of Robin and how it all comes out. And you get the opportunity to really see him flesh it out as time goes on. It's really kind of neat. So, but there's Miss Stephanie Brown. She was one of the 2 female Robins, officially. One of the female Robins was not in the modern timeline. She was in an alternate reality, alternate world, so to speak, for Batman. But she was definitely a part of that mythos, so I will always count her as one of the Robins because of that. Because, Robin is a hard mantle to have, not just because of what it requires, but also because of who you're working with. Batman's not an easy character to work with. So anyway, there's Miss Stephanie Brown. That's her with her staff, her bow staff that she uses. So there you go there. And then we're going to get into the original. Now, of course, as you can kind of probably see if you've been looking at the pencil a bit, this is definitely more of the Nightwing profile. If you've watched the Titan series by DC, that the DC streaming service started, you're going to get kind of the story of Dick Grayson and how he goes from starting off being Robin into the land of becoming Nightwing, becoming his own creation, his own hero, so to speak. Dick Grayson, one of the things that's interesting about him is he has been Batman on a few occasions, actually. He has actually donned the cape and cowl. And as a matter of fact, when Damian became part of the equation for a while and Bruce disappeared, Dick became the Batman that was there until Bruce came back. And then there was a point where Bruce was just no, you can do it for a little while. So Dick continued to do it for a while, and then there was a point where Bruce decided he needed to take the mantle back. And then, of course, everybody was like, well, what are you going to do with the kid? It's like, well, the kid is my kid. I need to kind of be there for him and kind of support him in a way I've never shown before. So he continued to keep Damian on as the Robin to his Batman. So I always thought that was really cool. But anyway, Dick Grayson was the original Robin. He was part of the Flying Graysons, and his whole thing his whole world kind of started and ended in a circus. His parents were the Flying Graysons. They were a trapeze act, and at one point, Dick sees a group of mobsters in the at the circus. I can't talk right now. And anyway, so he sees them at the circus. He realizes what's going on. They're basically saying, "Hey, look, we need protection money." The guy that owns the circus says, "No, we're not going to do that." Next thing you know, some people go around start sabotaging stuff. Dick doesn't see that. He just sees kind of the conversation that he figures would have prompted it. So anyway, he ends up, kind of, at first he's thinking, should I tell somebody? What should I do? What should I say? He tries to tell his parents what's going on, and they're like, we got to perform. We got to get ready to do this thing. And over time, they go and do their thing. And when they do, that's when they find out that their rope has been snapped. And as a result, they end up falling down. And so when they fall, of course, they die from falling from such a great height. Well, as a result of that, there's a brief moment. I've seen it in different movies and the different comics and stuff like that. There's a brief moment where Bruce Wayne kind of sees his own life and the life of Nightwing, the future Nightwing. And so he ends up making a decision. And I'm pretty sure, this was back in the day when you didn't really think about adoption, but I'm thinking nowadays, to have a single dude show up who, yeah, he's a millionaire, but he's still a single guy with no spouse, no nothing. And I don't know how well that would work in today's era for adoption. But anyway, so Bruce adopts him as a ward of the state. And then eventually over time reveals to him who he is. He starts training him up on how to be a detective, how to fight, different things like that. And then eventually, over the course of time, he allows him the opportunity to help find his parents' killer. And so Dick Grayson kind of goes from being being Robin to there's a point later on where he decides he doesn't want to follow that mantle anymore. And so he eventually becomes Nightwing. He eventually breaks away for a while. There's the Teen Titans, and then he comes back as the new leader of the Teen Titans as Nightwing, and he goes through that whole thing. And then there's a point where he kind of walks away from that even. One of the famous relationships that he has for a long time is with Starfire from the Titans. If you've seen the old Teen Titans cartoon, there's this point where you kind of see the future Nightwing and future Robin, and he's Nightwing, of course. And so you get to see that as well. But another thing that's really cool about Dick Grayson is that he stopped being Nightwing for a while to become a cop. So he didn't even just, he didn't just go in and be like, oh, well, I'm going to be a superhero all my life. No, there was a point where he stopped to become a policeman so that he could go in and kind of learn how to deal with crime and different things like that and really focus on his chops. As a matter of fact, I don't know that he really put on the outfit all that much while he was in Bloodhaven, which is the city he lived in for a while. One of the things he sought to do after he broke away from Batman is really not to live in Gotham. He was like, I don't have to live in Gotham to succeed. I don't have to, do what Batman does. I can be my own person. I can do my own things. And so one of the cool things about Nightwing, besides the fact that, he has access to a lot of Bruce Wayne stuff. And so he's kind of adapted it to his own, but he also adapted more streamlined fighting style. He definitely uses like screamer sticks and stuff like that. They're the little, think like police batons, are smaller and faster to move with. And of course, with him being more the athletic type, with his gymnastic background and everything, there's always that pull to, use more gymnastic-y type moves. Nightwing was definitely the counterpoint to Batman. You know, Batman be the super serious one, and Nightwing would kind of be like, okay, you know, the very humor, you know, make people laugh, make people not think about what's going on, distraction. Robin was definitely the distraction to the situation. I'm not sure if that's going to get picked up or not. That's my phone ringing, so I'm not sure if that's going to go off or not. My buddy, of course, would call me right as I was trying to do this video. So that's the Joker, by the way. So yeah, so I'm hoping to get this done really quick because I need to reach out to him. I missed him yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. So anyway, they're getting that done. Trying to make sure I get the little blacks in Nightwing suit. There's a lot of black in his suit. Sometimes the little banner up here has been blue, and other times it's been red. Just kind of depends on what he needs, I guess. There's my phone ringing again because I don't want to end this just yet. I want to try to finish it up like I kind of So I may have to stop this one because I want to definitely get this phone call done. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to have to shut this down. Thank you guys so much. And above all else, be blessed, be a blessing to somebody. Until next time, guys, take care.